So we're going to solve this equation. Again, the word here is solve. So it's not a proof question. This is on page 640. We haven't done it. Don't worry. Okay, first of all, this is a solve question, and it's not a proof question. However, that doesn't mean that you can't use your identities, and this is where having those identities mostly memorized really comes in handy. Because when you read this question, you see cos, cos plus sine, sine, and if you think of alpha and beta formulas, this says cos of an angle, sine of a different angle, plus sine, cos of an angle, cos of a different angle, plus sine of an angle, sine of a different angle, and that fits one of our formulas. It's the cos alpha minus beta formula. So we can go and change this whole thing here and say, well, that's the same as cos of alpha minus beta. So what happens in a lot of these questions is you look at the question, and at first you should say to yourself, I have no idea how to solve this, because this is typical. You look at a question, you go, I don't quite know how I'm going to solve this, but what could I do? And what I could do is recognize this and say cos 4x minus x. And if I simplify that, I get cos 3x equals 1. And once you do one step, then that should trigger something else. What does this look like now? A multi-revolution question. So if 1x was between 0 and 2 pi, 3x's would be 3 times around between 0 and 6 pi. So now we solve it, and 1 is on our pi plate. What value gives us 1 for cos? 0 and 2 pi. So we would go 3x is equal to 0 and 2 pi. That's once around. The second time around would include 4 pi. The third time around would include 6 pi. Of course, according to this, 6 pi is not included, so we wouldn't have to consider that one. 4 pi will be, because now we need to solve for x. And when we solve for x, what do we have to do on this side? We have to divide everything by 3. While 0 divided by 3 is still 0. 2 pi divided by 3 will be 2 pi over 3. And 4 pi divided by 3 will be 4 pi over 3. And all of our answers are now between 0 and 2 pi, which is what the original question said for our domain. For our domain in our original question, it said that x had to be between 0 and 2 pi. And that does show up once we divide by 3 in the end. So questions you can do for this one are 15 and 17. So when I'm looking back at it, looking at the original question, I didn't think it was a multi-revolution question. It looked like it had lots of sines and coses, but after you do a single step, here you have to recognize, oh, now it's another type of question that I know how to solve, and I work from there.
Did you say this is the hardest unit?
The identities?